Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chaos Child. We're still on the Hana road, and things are quite interesting. We ran into an assassin and decided midway through him trying to drive us insane via psychic sound-based attacks that we just wouldn't do anything and kind of just beg for mercy until he's like, you guys are so pathetic, I'm leaving. He was distracted by a baseball crashing through the window, and that is what saved us. Kind of sad that we could have done literally anything to distract him and he would have not killed us, but here we are. Still, as pathetic as Takuru was, this still is an interesting plot. We're learning a lot of new things. Wakui being an assassin for the committee is quite a turn. Wasn't expecting that. We've learned a bunch about some other guys. We've learned about Hana. I'm still enjoying this route, even if that scene with Wakui was pretty frustrating. Let's dive into things. It was after 7 p.m. in the evening. There wasn't a single train car coming down the Yamanote line. I almost read that as Yamamote. It wasn't just the trains. The whole of Shibuya was a ghost town. That's because people have evacuated. You're like the only two people in the area. There was no light and nothing moved. The town itself was eerily clean. That was the big difference between now and 6 years ago. Everything's clean instead of destroyed. Wakui went inside the pedestrians' tunnel under the train tracks, listening to the voices of the monsters howling in the distance. The night wind blew past him, colder than before. The moonlight didn't reach inside the tunnel, so it was extremely dark. Wakui could sense a lone girl in the darkness. Ah, yes, the teacher just pursuing lone girls in dark tunnels. Alright. Hello, right on time, I suppose. It's Sarika. The girl he'd summoned moved away from the wall she'd been leaning on, then stood with her back to the moonlight. Her eyes shone with a strange light that made Wakui shudder. You can have this back, here. Wakui tossed the baseball he was holding at the girl. He didn't even try to catch it. Instead, it struck her in the chest and fell to the floor where it bounced several times. Alright.
Oh, you
don't need it back. Or was it school property?
Miyashiro Takuru to Kazuki Hanaを攻撃した理由を教えろ。
Tell me why you attacked Takuru Miyashiro and Hana Kazuki. The girl, Sarika Onoe, said. It wasn't her usual feminine voice. There was an arrogance in it. Wakui was in a position to deserve her respect, but she showed no sign of it. He didn't like that at all, but didn't feel like bringing it up. Alright, so how'd she recruit this guy? The committee, as well as Wakui, its messenger, had decided to respect Sarika's position, at least for as long as their interests were aligned. Are you willing to fight the committee depending on my answer? You interrupted me back there. That's more than sufficient for the committee to decide to eliminate you.
宮代拓を勝手に殺させはしない。殺そうとするなら理由を聞かせてもらう。
I won't let you kill Takuru on a whim. If you want to try, you need to tell me why.
その理由次第で、こちらは黙認するか、お前たちと手を切るか決める。
Depending on your reason, I'll either allow it or cut ties with you. Ah, she's still doing her same old deals, but she's also made... I didn't know she was directly connected with Wakui as well. That's interesting. Might just be for this route, maybe? Who knows? But that's an interesting twist, alright.
黙認ね。まあ、確かに君とはそういう協定を結んでいたけれど。
Allow it, huh? Well, that was the deal we made.
それにしても君はいつだって彼のことしか考えてないね。実に潔いよ。
But, you know, he really is all you ever think of, isn't he? It's quite impressive. The Committee of 300 was cooperating with Sarika Onoe. Precisely, they were allowing her to get away with what she was doing.
理由を教えろ。
Tell me why. Sarika stared straight at Wakui. She didn't look away for an instant. Her face was expressionless, and it was hard to believe a teenage girl could be so calm in this situation. Wakui slumped his shoulders in a slightly exaggerated fashion.
我々が問題にしているのは宮代拓ではなく和樹花の方でね。
Our problem is with Hana, not Takuru, you see.
やりすぎたんだよ、彼
She's
女は。
gone too far.
これじゃ6年前の二の舞じゃないか。
This is the same nonsense we went through 6 years ago. Yeah, the dinosaurs terrorizing the town, real annoying.
我々はこの町で粛々と実験を行っていたというのに、ここまで大きな騒ぎを起こされたよね。
We've been quietly performing our experiments here in the city, and now there's all this chaos. Dude, quiet. I don't even know how do you describe quietly. They literally nuked an entire district of a city, and are like, yeah, we're quietly performing experiments. Like, okay. It was like your team that did that too. Kind of funny.
力をコントロールできないがゆえに彼女の責任だとは一概に言えないが、彼女の妄想がリアルブートしたことが原因なのは確かだ。
Since she can't control her power, it's not fair to put all the blame on her, but still, the fact is that her delusions are what caused this problem.
彼女一人のせいで渋谷の秩序、ひいては世界の秩序までが乱れてしまった。
The actions of this one girl have disrupted order in Shibuya and perhaps the entire world. That's rough, buddy. Have you ever considered not giving random people psychic powers?
しかも彼女の背後にはあの西条匠がいるとの未確認情報まであってはね。
And there's also unconfirmed reports that Takumi Nishijo may be backing her as well.
このまま事態が収束しなければギガロマニアックスの存在が世間一般に知られてしまうどころか、人類が和樹花一人の妄想に飲まれる可能性すら出てくる。
If this matter isn't settled, not only will the world find out about Gigalomaniacs, but the world might also be swallowed by Hana Kazuki's delusions.
委員会はビビりすぎという顔をしているね。だがこれは性分だよ。それぐらい慎重にならなければ委員会は今の地位にはいられなかった。
I can see from the look on your face you think the committee is overreacting, but that's just who we are. If the committee hadn't been this cautious, we never would have gotten to this point.
とにかく我々は和樹花を世界の敵に認定した。
And thus we've designated Hana Kazuki an enemy of the
と
world.
はいえ彼女は実験対象としては稀有な個体であり、殺すには惜しい。
Still, she is a very rare test sample, and it would be a waste to kill her.
というわけでね、委員会の方針は和樹花の心を壊して生け捕りにするってことになったわけ。
So the committee settled on a plan: drive her insane and capture her alive. Oh no. That doesn't sound like a good one. That doesn't sound like a good plan.
宮代拓はついでだよ。和樹花と一緒にいたからという理由以上のものはないかな。
Miyashiro's just an afterthought. I don't think there's any other reason beyond the fact that he was with her.
君との協定もあるしね。殺すつもりはないよ。まあ少し急を据えてやろうと思ったぐらいだ。
We have our agreement with you as well. I have no intention of killing him. I just wanted to teach him a lesson.
和樹花を回収したら宮代拓の方は君に返す予定だよ。
Once we have Hana, the plan is to give him back to you. Alright.
もっとも君が望むなら殺すこともできるけど。
Of course, if you'd
We'll see.
like, we can kill him. How about it? Rika thought for a moment, then lightly kicked her foot against the wall of the tunnel. The sound echoed down the tunnel.
理由は聞かせてもらった。だから黙認する。
You've told me your reason. I'll allow it. Seems fair enough. It's like, well, threat to the world? Yeah, okay, that's fine. I also kind of want him out of my way so I can do whatever the fuck I want. That was her answer. She's just like, fuck it. Yeah, let him die. It's Sarika.
殺すも生かすも僕に任せるということかな。
You'll let me decide whether to kill him or let him live? Is that it?
そうだ。
Yeah.
いいのかい？
You sure?
問題ない。
It's fine. I guess she accepted his reason. She's a little bit more heartless than you think she is. So she's like, oh, yeah, okay, I guess he can die. He might be collateral if we kill Hana, but he may not be. Yeah, that's fair.
君は徹底的に狂っているな。宮代拓が楽しむためなら宮代拓本人であろうとも犠牲にするとはね。
You really are insane. So long as Takuru Miyashiro enjoys it, you're willing to sacrifice the man himself? I mean, she's just driven to make sure he has purpose.
あるいは生まれながらにして価値観が違うのかな。
Or maybe you're simply born with different values than the rest of us? Yeah, that seems to be the case.
ちなみに僕は残念ながらエンターテイナーではないから君ほどうまくはやれないかもしれない。そこは考慮しといてよ。
By the way, I'm unfortunately not an entertainer. I may not be as good at this as you are. Keep that in mind. Rika ignored his joke. It was clear she felt discussions were finished.
一つ聞いていいかい？
Could I ask you one question?
君は宮代拓が死んだらその後はどうするつもりかな？
That's a good question. What do you intend to do after Takeru Miyashiro dies? I'm curious. What did she seemed to be like kind of happy that he was dead in the Arimura route, the previous route we did. So I'm curious to see what she actually intends to do if he's gone. I'm glad they might answer this.
私にはその後なんてない。
There's nothing for me after that. Rika laughed, then turned around to leave.
あ、そう。
I see.
けなげだね。
How noble.
あ、尾上くん。そこらを化け物が徘徊しているから気をつけて帰るようにね。
Oh, no way. There are monsters around. Be careful on your way home. Rika didn't even bother looking back.
さて、そういうことならもっと大っぴらに動いてみようかな。
Alright, so if that's the deal, maybe I could be a little more open with how I act. I mean, all you had to do was tell her you wanted to kill him because it was dangerous for the world, and you probably could have killed him in that last scene. She wouldn't have interrupted you. Good to know she's also directly working with the committee, or at least mind controlled this guy into thinking he's working with them. We'll see.
西条匠もついでにあぶり出せればそれに越したことはないけど。
I could lure out Takumi Nishijo too. That would be for the best. Okay.
とりあえずは和樹花と宮代拓だな。
For now, though, it's just the problem is just Hana and Takuru, and we're like, for whatever reason, we've glued ourselves to Hana. So we're a problem as well. All right, I understand that. Wakui took out his phone and dialed the number on the contact list. The phone rang for a while before it connected.
はい、もしもし。
Yes, hello.
どうも、生徒会顧問の涌井だけど。
Hello, I'm Mr. Wakui, the student council advisor.
ちょっと生徒会長に話があるんだよね。いいかな？
I need to speak with the student council president for a moment. Is she available? Dawn came. Oh, he's calling Nono to let her know what's up with Takuru. We'd spent over 12 hours running with no real destination in mind. After Rakui's attack, Kazuki and I had hid in a Shinsen love hotel. All this chaos had turned Shibuya into a ghost town. There were several love hotels in Shinsen that had closed down. We stuck inside one of them and held each other tight, hiding and trying to make as little noise as possible. Oh, so they spent the night in a love hotel. Well, apart from the fact that they were terrified, that's going to give Nono a very different... Nono and Ito a very different impression than just hanging out at each other's house. Not instead of just spending the night, but alright. I knew it wasn't going to do us much good. It was obvious Wakui knew everything he needed. Even if it was only a difference of a few percentage points in the likelihood of us being found, I wanted to stay somewhere else other than stupidly going back to the dorm. Of course, spending all my time in one place meant I had nothing to do but think and worry. You might find us if we stay here. You might have already found us. You could attack any minute. The fear became delusions. The delusions threatened to drive me crazy. Every hour or two, we'd hide somewhere else. Since we couldn't get close to Shibuya Station, we went to bookstores, department stores, and McD's around the area. It's just McD's. They replaced a lot of characters in McDonald's to give us McD's. They were all closed, so we used Kazuki's D-sword to break the shutter and go inside, then hide for just a few hours. No matter how many times we went to a different place, my worry didn't disappear. The power Wakui showed us was just that overwhelming. I'd like to point out that he was distracted by a ball flying through the window. Like, you could have literally slapped the guy and he might have lost his focus. You could have he didn't... How was it overwhelming? You didn't even try to react to it. Neither of you tried to do anything. You just accepted that he was deafening you and, like, had a panic attack. One of you literally had a panic attack so badly that they, like, pissed themselves. Come on. It was just an inability to hear. It's not like you couldn't act. Or even control yourself. Anyway. It wasn't physical power, it was psychological torture that drained your will to resist. Come on, man. Just remembering it made my whole body shrivel up with terror. Of course, I didn't get a wink of sleep. Kazuki was no different. She spent the whole time clinging to me and shaking. She was so weak she couldn't even walk on her own. She was physically exhausted, of course, but the psychological exhaustion was worse. She hadn't even tried to say a word since then. I tried to pry her off of me, but she stubbornly kept clinging, so I had no choice but to walk with my arm around her.
Kazuki, ora,
Kazuki, we're here. Where are we this time? We've been heading for a manga cafe. Fortunately, there were plenty of places to hide in Shibuya right now. The shutter was down at the entrance of the building with the manga cafe.
Kazuki, yabutte kure.
Kazuki, break it for us. Go on, please. Why don't you try to use your D-sword to Karu? Instead of taking her D-sword out, Kazuki just kept clinging to me. I had no choice but to try and physically force the shutter to rise. It didn't work. There was no sign of my power, telekinesis manifesting itself, but I couldn't find my own D-sword. I didn't want to die, but I was so tired. I had no idea that running in fear for just half a day could be so exhausting. Why are they still running? Didn't he, stop killing them? He chose to stop killing them. It's not like he's gonna murder you. With nothing else to do, I slumped down against the shutter. Still, Kazuki wouldn't get off me. We probably weren't gonna be able to keep running for much longer. Wakui had been quite clear.
I'll
tell you one thing though, don't think you can get away. Thinking about the future made me despair. It was up to someone else whether we lived or died, and that someone was coming for us soon. So naturally, we just randomly move everywhere we possibly could and stay on the streets so that there's a chance he sees us. Could we escape when he arrived? Dude, just pick a place. Just pick a place. If we could, how long could we keep running? We had no future. I even pondered committing suicide. The idea of facing Wakui's psychological attack again scared me more than anything. Maybe someone would come to save us? Suddenly I heard a sound nearby and cringed before I knew what I was doing. I curled up into a ball to protect my head. I knew there was no point, but my instincts made me do so anyway. A short while later, I realized it was the sound of a smartphone and I gave a deep sigh. It was Kazuki's phone that was ringing, not mine. The sound kept playing, which meant it was a phone call, not a text message. Kazuki was looking at me with terror in her eyes. Why is... Okay. I want to kill the audio, this is so annoying. But why the ever-loving fuck have you not turned your cell phone off? If you're terrified this guy's gonna track you, shouldn't, being tracked via your cell phone be, the most obvious thing on the planet? Come on, man. The screen said no. This doesn't look scared either. This is a very neutral face. This is Hana's neutral face. It's kind of weird. It was Karu's. Kazuki was unsure if she should answer it. If she did, maybe Wakui would go after Karu's too. We wanted to avoid that probably. But right now, we wanted any kind of help we could get. It could be Karu's, Sarika, or Ito. Even Nightheart. We just wanted someone to do something. But they left their phones on while they're trying to hide from someone. Weird choice. I grabbed the phone out of Kazuki's hands and answered it. Alright. So, you're so terrified someone's gonna find you that you literally can't stay in any single building for more than 2 hours. But you leave your phone on. You leave it on. It's not only on, but it's not in airplane mode. And the audio is on full blast in an abandoned city. So if someone's looking for you and has your phone number, they can just call you. And they'll instantly know where you are because there's no fucking sound around other than the sound of your phone ringing. Dude, I swear to God, your emotional, you spent an entire day running away and you didn't even bother turning off the phone? Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. I grabbed the phone out of Kazuki's hands and answered it.
Moshi.
Oh, just moshi. Alright.
Yeah.
Hello.
Wakui desu.
Hey, it's Wakui. How's it going, man? Good morning, it's Wakui. Just hearing his voice filled my mind with despair. I was too scared to speak.
おかしいな。和樹くんの電話にかけたはずなんだけど、まあ別に問題ないか。どうせ横に和樹くんもいるんでしょ?
That's strange. I was sure I'd called Kazuki's phone. Well, I suppose it doesn't matter. I'm sure she's right next to you, right? This couldn't be happening. That's right. Nono is probably dead. That was Carissa's name on the screen. So why was I hearing Wakui's voice? I thought for a second, and then the worst occurred to me. What did you do to Carus? He's gonna say nothing, right? He probably didn't kill her, he just lied a bunch.
おや、もう状況を理解してくれたのかい。頭の回転が速くて助
Oh,
かる
he's
よ。
actually doing something to Karus. Well, she's died before, she can die again. Oh, you understand the situation already? I'm glad you're quick on the update.
殺したのか
Did you kill her? No, no, she's bait.
いや、ただこの先はわからないけれどね。
No, I don't. But I don't know what I might do in the future.
どういうつもりだよ
I mean, she might be dead in a week or something, right?
今日の昼12時に光陽の11階シアターキューブの前で待ち合わせと行こう。
Let's meet. Noon today, the Theater Cube on the 11th story of the Kahariwo building. Ah, the same place the original route ends. Nice.
2人で来てもらえるかい？
Can both of you come?
行かなかったらクルスを
If
殺
you
すの
don't, will you kill Karus?
そういうことになるね。
I suppose I will.
いやー、こっちもいろいろと事後処理が大変なんだ。何の事後処理かって？それはもちろん和樹くんがやらかしたこ
I
と
mean,
の
I got so much cleanup work to do. Cleanup for what, you ask? Of course, what Kazuki did.
というわけで、そっちから顔を出してくれると助かるんだよ。できれば派手にやりたいという上からの意向もあってね。
Be a big help if you just show up. My bosses want me to go big, you see.
いや、もちろんこの騒動をさらに拡大させるつもりはないんだ。むしろ今の渋谷の状況については情報規制を敷くつもりだし。
Of course, I'm not planning on adding to the chaos. In fact, we're going to be censoring all the information about what's going on in Shibuya right now.
ただ、6年くらい前から我々の足元を鬱陶しいネズミが何匹か這い回っていてね。
Good work, Wakui. Forcing them into something. Maybe they'll actually react and try to stop him. You think Takeru can manage to do literally anything, like slap this guy in the face when he tries to murder him at least? I don't mean like effectively punch him, I mean like just anything a slap would do. There's several annoying rats running underfoot for the last 6 years. Oh.
君たちやクルス君はそのネズミをおびき出すための餌というと
You
こ
two
ろ
and Karus are bait to draw them in.
宮代君についてはそれ以上の役割はないから、時間さえ守ってくれれば何も緊張する必要はないよ。
Of course, I have no other interest in you, Miyashiro. As long as you're here on time, there's nothing to be worried about.
ではよろしく。今日の正午だからね。
See you at noon, alright?
くれぐれも遅刻しないように。
Don't
生
be
徒
late.
に待たされると先生悲しくなるからさ。
Teachers are always sad when their students keep them waiting. Wakui hung up. Oh no. Bruce had been kidnapped? Yep. I looked at the time on the phone. It was past 9.
クルスが涌井に捕まった
Wakui kidnapped Karus. I guess that's shock. The arm motion's unusual, but alright. Kazuki looked up at me in shock. I told her if we didn't go to see Wakui at noon, she was gonna die.
猶予は3時間もないか
We got less than 3 hours. Huh. If we went, we were sure to die. There just wasn't enough time left. We didn't even have time to think. I felt like I was about to cry, but I stopped myself.
どうしてノノ先輩が
Hi, Nana.
そんなの
The
僕
hell
に
should
わ
I
かる
know?
わけないだろ
Because he's taking your sister hostage, and that's a good play. He's taking your adoptive sister hostage. Taking hostages and forcing people to do stuff, it's a pretty good play. I slammed my fist against the shutter in frustration. I knew the answer, of course. I knew it so well it hurt. This is all my fault. I got Kazuki and Karus involved just to save my own life. What should I do? What was I supposed to do?
選択肢なんて
Nothing I can do.
あるわけない
Use that telekinesis of yours that you've forgotten to do repeatedly, or even tried to learn. I had no way of fighting against Wakui. Both Kazuki and I were powerless, but if we didn't go to the meeting spot, Karus would be killed. It didn't matter whether Wakui intended to keep his promise. Our only choice was to do what he said, but
殺されに来いって言ってるようなものじゃないか
he's telling us to go get killed. Just imagining it made my knees shake too much for me to stand. My life was going to end soon. It had been a short life. I never thought it would end like this. Heard things gone wrong.
助けたい。
Oh, let's see. You abandoned using your telekinesis to protect yourself. You didn't stop him when he first tried to kill you. You... Like, that's probably the two biggest ones. I don't think you've done anything else objectively wrong. Maybe you could say, like, it's illegal to break into a crime scene, but... It's not like... That usually gets you killed. It's not like that usually gets you killed. You want to save her?
Huh?
Hana's a hero. Alright. Why is Hana braver than you, Takeru? She's playing too many video games and knows the protagonist thing to do. Good job, Hana.
のの先輩、助けたい。
I want to save Nona. Just this once, she didn't say maybe. Yeah, she didn't say maybe. She said she wanted to save Nono. She's... has a definitive answer, but it was impossible. She'd seen for herself how scary Wakui was. There's nothing we could do. If we tried to hurt him and piss him off, he might do something even worse to us. It's far better to just let him kill us. Gods. Takeru, why are you such a bitch?
ナイトハルトなら、
Maybe Nightheart?
ナイトハルトなら、なんとかしてくれる。
Maybe Nightheart could do something. Maybe. Maybe he could. But he always seemed really shady. I couldn't imagine him agreeing to help us like that. Still, we decided to talk to him anyway. How are we gonna message him? There wasn't time to think about it. We headed straight back to Kazuki's dorm. I pray he's online. She loaded up ESO 2 on her PC immediately. Nightheart was logged in, as usual. She sent a message to open a chat log. Yo, you're safe? I was sure you were dead. No, I'm still alive. Only for a few hours more, though. Give me the short version. Wakui took a girl from our club. We go to him at noon, otherwise she dies. Well, you're fucked. The perfect answer. He's like, what's this asshole? No, that was like the perfect answer. It's like, he took a hostage, we gotta go meet him at noon or she's dead. And he's like, yep, that's fucked. You're fucked. Bye. He didn't say bye though, he just said you're fucked. What's this asshole's problem? Our lives are at risk here. How could he be so relaxed? Calm the fuck down, Takeru. You're like this with other people's lives. I felt like punching the computer screen. Help us! I refuse. What? What? You monster. I'm sorry, but I'm not as useful as you guys think I am. I'm a lot less useful than your average normal. I used to be pretty powerful, but at the end of the last fight, I wasn't even human anymore. I gave up my power to come back from that, and I can't use it much anymore. How much of that did you just make up? If you want to accuse me of watching too much anime, go for it. Anyway, Wakui's goal is to get at me. I'm completely powerless, so there's no way in hell I'm going. I got problems of my own. I can't just drop everything and come to Shibuya. I'm not... Who are you really? I'm not important. What's important is Wakui. I told you yesterday he's an assassin for the Committee of 300, right? He's nothing like the Chaos Syndrome patrons that showed up after the quake. He's more like me, 100% pure gigglomaniac. He's not as strong as I used to be, but he's still a powerful gigglomaniac. To be honest, you Chaos Child Syndrome people don't stand a chance. Okay, what's Chaos Syndrome? You're a psychic. Too lazy to explain. You're telling us to die? The committee designated you an enemy of the whole world. There's no way you escape. That's what Wakui said. I don't know if he's gonna kill you, but if he gets his hands on you, you're not gonna like it. You got three options. Abandon your friend and run, to buy yourself a day or two before you get caught. Surrender to Wakui and beg him to spare your friend. In Wakui's case, he's probably not gonna do that. And your last chance. The odds are incredibly low, but you can fight Wakui and try to turn the tables. There's a way to fight him. Can we win? I'd just like to take a minute. I only like a minute or so ago realized at the start of this conversation that Hana's emote is a face and then the like thought bubble. So like the dot, the period, Japanese period O and capital O are like bubbles, and then the text is supposed to be in another bubble. And so she's emoting, and she types this every time. She doesn't copy paste it. She's emoting that she's thinking these out loud. I think that's kind of cute. I think that's cute. That's what her emoji is. The odds are pretty much zero. The same odds as drinking a soda and not burping. But if you can pull it off, you have a shot to turn things around. Is that really possible? Well, best of luck. It was hard to tell if Nightheart was serious or joking. Both Kazuki and I were willing to bet on the smallest possible chance. Yeah, go over those 1% ropes. Tell me, what can we do? Sumo stickers. Huh? The sumo stickers. There's a lot in Shibuya. Don't you know about them? We looked at one another. This was an amazing coincidence. It felt like there was a faint light shining down on us from above. Did we know about the sumo stickers? That was a stupid question. We knew all about them. Until a short while ago, we'd been obsessed with them. I know them. I know all about them. Good, that makes things faster. There's 2 types of sumo stickers. You use the ones the committee put up. Good so far? The designs are different. The stickers put up by the committee weaken Gigglomaniacs and Chaos Child Syndrome patients. Oh, I got sick looking at them. That's the effect you're looking for. It does nothing to people without power. And? Use the stickers for your benefit. Weaken Wakui. You put on your shirt and leave. The end.
いや、ツッコミどころはそこじゃないから。
That's not the issue here. Use the stickers to weaken it. Who would have thought the sumo stickers held such a secret? That's why I felt sick when I saw them. Maybe the committee wouldn't expect us to use their sumo stickers against them, but...
問題は一体どうやればいいのかってい
question
うこと
is
だ。
how we do it.
シール1枚の効果なんてたかが知れてる。
A single sticker has only so much power. And remember, our character runs screaming when he sees them. The most he could do is make him a little queasy.
それでどうやって涌井みたいな化け物の力を弱体化させられるっていうんだ。
How can we use that to weaken a monster like Wakui?
聞いてみる。
I'll ask. Alright, you're gonna ask? There's no reason for me to take off my shirt. What exactly do we do? The only way is to use Kazuki's power, right? It's not gonna be that easy. I know, just like I said, the odds are as good as drinking a soda and not burping. If you want to beat Wakui, you gotta work with what you got. You gotta be willing to take on the whole world. This is your last hope, and it's probably not gonna work. Whether you're willing to try it anyway, if it's just because you want to survive, that's up to you, not me. Thanks. He's thinking positive thoughts, I'm sure. So we're wasting our time. I had expected as much. There was no way to use Kazuki's power to pull that off. One of the reasons this even happened in the first place was because she couldn't control her power. Good thing we're not trying to control it at any point. That's definitely helping. I collapsed to the ground. Giving up made me feel a little bit better. I didn't want to die, of course, but I could at least be calmer than when I was dealing with the fear.
もうしまいだ。
We're doomed.
僕らどうやっても死ぬんだ。
We're dead no matter what happens.
クルスだって見逃してもらえると思う。そんなわけないだろ。何をしたって殺されるさ。
And Karus, do you think he'll let her go? Of course not. She'll be killed either way.
どうしようもないんだ。
Nothing we can do about it.
考えてみたら、今のこの渋谷の状況は元を正せば僕のエゴのせいだし。
Well, I mean... not really. Yes and no, but not in the way you think, Takuru. Thinking back, everything that happened to Shibuya is because of my own selfishness.
最初から潔く死んでおけばよかったんだ。
I should have just gotten killed at the start of all this.
そうさ。僕が生きてるのが間違ってるんだ。
I shouldn't even be alive.
お前はあの時学校で僕なんか助けなければよかったん
Never
だ。
should have saved me back at the school. Kazuki punched the wall hard. The sound echoed loudly in the quiet room. I could hear her gritting her teeth.
私の力が
I hate my
大
power,
嫌い
but...
だけど
That's right, Kazuki was always the type of girl who was open with her emotions. She used to punch the wall all the time when she was playing her game. Alas, she can't reach the wall from where she's sitting on the floor here. Ha ha.
でも
So poor Desk-chan gets it. But
私のの先輩
I wanna
助
save
けたい
her.
助けたいよ
I wanna save her. Tears ran down her face as she told me how she felt.
新聞部のの先輩に誘ってもらってすごく嬉しかった
I was so happy when Nono invited me to the newspaper club. I think Hana needs a hug. I know she's been getting a hug all day, but she needs a hug right now.
あの部室にいられるの救いだった
Being in that room was the one thing that kept me going.
のの先輩に本当感謝してる
I'm really grateful to Nono. Damn, really? I didn't know that meant so much to you.
私助けたい。見捨てたくない。
I want to save her, I don't want to abandon her.
助けたいって言ったって
Let's save her
ど
now.
うするつもりだよ。どうすることもできないよ。力をコントロールできるのか。できないだろ。できなかったから今こんなことになってるんだろ。
We haven't even tried to control either of our powers even once in this entire series. Or at least in this playthrough, we haven't tried to learn to control our powers. In the first playthrough, we learned to control our powers, and we could sort of use them at the end in our first fight. It wasn't very effective, but we did it. It took us a while to learn, and the enemy gave us way too many opportunities to learn, but hey. They were just flexing on us, so we can learn. Can Hana learn? Probably. We haven't tried to learn. There's nothing we can do. Can you control our powers? It all happens because you can't control it, right?
分かってるよ。
I know.
だけど、のの先輩、どうなってもいいの。
Don't you care what happens to Nono?
私、後のことなんか知らない。
I don't care what happens after. I don't want to think about it.
今の私のクエストは、のの先輩を助けることだけ。
My quest right now is to save Nono. Very heroic. I specifically said when she said she wanted to save Nono that she had played too many video games. And of course, he's immediately like, quest? This isn't a game. It's like, no, this works. She was never going to finish that quest unless she sacrificed herself. Once she was done talking, all she did was cry.
カズキってすごい負けず嫌いだな。
Katsuki, you really hate to lose, huh? She nodded as she rubbed her eyes with the back of her hand. He was aware of that, it seemed. She hated to lose, which is why she's always so serious when she played her games. Would that be enough to make her want to go so far as to help another person?
あ、カズキ。
Who wants to save someone else's life? Who wants to try that? Let them die. Not like doctors don't exist. Not like we don't have doctors in real life who try to save people. Hey, Katsuki.
なんでお前はあの時僕を助けてくれたんだ。
Why'd you try to save me? It was like the first IRL quest I've ever gotten, man.
新聞部。
Cause the newspaper club. Oh, okay. It was a very simple answer, almost disappointingly so. To me, Kazuki was just the quiet, unfriendly girl that Karus had brought to the club. She was always playing her games and never talked, so honestly I kinda tried to avoid her. Most I ever thought of her was that she was sometimes useful in putting together the data Ito and I gathered on the computer. To me, she'd barely even been a part of the newspaper club.
喋らない私なんかに
Give me a place
居
to
場
belong.
所何も言わないのに置いてくれた。
You let me stay there even though I never spoke.
そんな先輩たちのこと
Really liked
結
you
構
all.
好き。だからタクル先輩のことも
You too,
も
of
ちろん。
course. Haku.
だから先輩困ってたら後輩として助けたい。
If you're in trouble, I want to help you. Okay. Thanks, Hana. She was a much kinder girl than I'd ever imagined. She probably couldn't refuse when someone asked her for help. Once she felt like someone had been kind to her, she'd never forget it. After talking to her, I finally understood who Hana Kazuki was. Almost said Hana
助け
Karus.
たいか。
Oh, you want to save her, huh? We want to save Karus and damage Rikuya. We would need to plunge the entire world into chaos and then die before we fixed any of it. The odds were incredibly low. Even Kazuki didn't know what would happen if she used her power.
どうせダメ元なんだから
Well, if we're gonna die anyway,
やってみてもいいかもしれないな。
maybe we should give it a go? Yeah.
タクル先輩
If you're fucked, you may as well try your one out.
やろう。僕らで。
Let's do it. Together.
うん。
Kazuki smiled in relief with tears in her eyes. I didn't feel any better about it though. Have you even tried using your telekinesis, dude? If someone wanted to take my place, I'd gladly switch. But if there was a small chance at least Karus could survive, maybe it was just a little bit better than letting him kill us. I left the dorm. We talked for a while about how exactly we were going to face Makui, until there was just an hour left before the time he'd given. Fear filled my chest. A deep breath so I can stay calm. Nobody tried to learn how to use their powers, apparently. Alright. There wasn't much we could do. More than anything, if we wanted to use Kazuki's power to its fullest, we needed to go someplace with a lot of people. The most populated place in Shibuya right now was Hikariwo. Actually, every other place in Shibuya was empty. Ito told me yesterday that the people without any home except Shibuya had taken the place over. We were lucky Wakui told us to go there. The plan was to arrive early and just have Kazuki say as many words as possible. If something happened, good. It wasn't even fair to call this a plan. But with only an hour left, there was nothing we could do.
お待たせかもで
Oh,
す。
maybe. The plan, just spout words. She's gonna open up a fucking dictionary and read from aardvark to zebra.
ちゃんと着替えたのか？
Kazuki came out the door. Did you change? Doesn't look like it.
うん。
Apparently she did.
下着とスカートだけかも。
Ah! Just your skirt and underwear. I see, I see. Well, we can't see that from a torso shot. We can see, like, stomach upwards. Yeah. Right.
ああ、そう。
I see. Kazuki had wet herself when Wakui attacked her, so I made her change. It would have been better if she had switched into something easier to move around in, but for some reason she was still in her uniform. I displayed the map on my Pokécon. It was a photo of the map in the club room I'd taken yesterday. If we wanted to get to the Hikariwo, we'd have to avoid the monsters appearing from the portal device. The fastest and safest route from Hekiho Dorm 1 to the station was...
明治通りに出よ
We'll take Meiji Street.
う。宮下公園の横にある地下鉄の入り口から地下に潜って、一気に光尾まで行く。
We take the subway tunnel next to Miyashita Park to go underground and head straight to the Hikariwo. Alright. Kazuki nodded and slowly offered me a piece of dried squid. Did she want me to eat it?
これが最後の晩餐とはね。
So this is our last meal, huh? Could have been worse. Could be worse, I guess. Do you like dried squid? I gratefully took the squid from Kazuki and bit into it. The unique smell and taste filled my mouth. It's good?
うまいな。
There's like you can faintly hear the sound of him like chewing it and trying to decide whether it's good. As I felt like I was starting to cry, Kazuki grabbed me by the arm. Her tiny body was still shaking. We were gonna die, so of course she was. She might have hated to lose, but that didn't mean she wasn't scared. I patted her lightly on the back to encourage her, then started to lead the way. Our plan quickly hit a stumbling block. Our investigation yesterday hadn't found any portals around here, but...
やっぱりある。
I thought there might be one here. We concealed ourselves as we looked down from the pedestrian bridge onto Meiji Street. 5 huge dragons covered in yellow and black scales were stomping up and down the block. When I looked in the direction of the station, I could see the distinctive light of a portal device 50 meters ahead of us. Oh boy. Time to book it. They have a 100-meter radius. Went back to the park and hid.
一昨日はなかったはずなんだ。あんな目立つところにあったなら見逃すはずがない。
If it was in some place this obvious, one of us would have seen it.
じゃあ
Then
昨日から今日にかけて出現したんだろうな。
it probably appeared sometime since we looked yesterday. What do we do now? How are we supposed to get to the Hikariwo? Oh yeah. There wasn't much time left.
ポータル装置は渋谷駅をぐるっと取り囲むようにして出現している。
The portal devices are appearing in a circle around Shibuya Station.
光尾は駅のすぐ
Oh, there's a
東
new
側。
one in the gap. The issue is there's a new one in the obvious gap. Hikariwo is right next to the station on the east side.
電車は使えない。渋谷駅には電車は来ない。
You can't use the trains. There's no trains coming to Shibuya Station. Are the trains on elevated tracks? If the trains are on elevated tracks and you can get on them early, you can probably run along the train tracks. That would work, right? There's no
多
trains
少
coming.
無理するしかないかも。
We may have to do something dangerous, maybe.
正面突破 破的な。
Like, breakthrough.
確かにポータル装置の半径100メートル以内に入っても絶対に襲われるっていうわけじゃない。
It's true, getting within a 100-meter radius of a portal device doesn't mean you're definitely going to be attacked. We were 50 meters away from one,
見つ
right?
からないようにして素早く駆け抜
5
けれ
minutes ago.
ば。
We can just get through fast without them finding us. What if, for example, we were to run from our present location, the back of Miyashita Park? So they're like at the top of the green. Okay. Management. The back of the Miyashita Park management office, over the pedestrian bridge, down the stairs, and then to the subway entrance.
いや、危険すぎる。
Oh, that's too dangerous.
ん？
Kazuki tilted her head at me in confusion. Why was it dangerous? Well, time for a lecture.
あの化け物どもの身体能力ははっきり分かってないだろう。何しろ、元はゲームの中にいたモンスターなんだ。
We don't really know what the monsters are physically capable of, do we? They were originally creatures from a video game, after all.
私、ゲームじゃ
I fought them a lot in game.
何度も戦ってる。
I fought them a lot in game.
そういう問題じゃないから。
It's not the issue.
ゲームで戦うのと現実で戦うのはわけが違う
It's
んだ。
different fighting them in the game versus real life. Yeah,
あいつ
sure.
らが本気出した時の足の速さとか狡猾さを僕らは好みで体感してない。
We haven't seen for ourselves how fast or smart they can be.
それに仮に路上をうろついてる奴らをやり過ごせたとして地下鉄の駅の中に他の化け物がいないとは限らない。
Even if we don't make it past the ones on the road, we don't know that there aren't more in the subway station.
いざそうなった時退路がなくなる。地上に戻るわけにはいかなくなるんだから。
If there are, we'll have nowhere to run since we can't head back up the stairs.
それは想定される中で最悪の
That's
事
the
態だ。
worst possible scenario. Which is another reason I want to approach things from a safe spot. If we died before we could use Kazuki's power, there'd be no point. We wouldn't be able to save Karus or hurt Rikui.
うん。
We still don't have any stickers, do we? Kazuki seemed to agree. I loaded the map image back onto my Pokécom. Alright.
最寄り駅まで遠回りしている時間的な余裕もそんなにない。
There's not enough time left to go to another station and head around from there. I thought about heading down the tracks from Shinsen, Daikanyama, or Omote Sando stations, but that wasn't realistic. Those stations were still running. If one of the staff caught us sneaking onto tracks, we might lose valuable time. Was there any other way? Like layered at the map? A maintenance tunnel, perhaps?
地図上では抜け道はあるように見える。
Seems like there should be a way through on the map. On the map, at least. A 100-meter radius around the portal device was just a safe zone the police established. We used that as a base to look at where in Shibuya was safe to travel. There's like literally one entrance, right? All these have 100-meter overlaps, and there's one like right north of this blue junk, so there's no entrance here. You'd have to come in from the west. As long as we could get through Seibo department store right next to Tetsuya, we could make it out on a scramble crossing. And we had Kazuki's D-Sword to help with that. There were no portal devices in Scramble Crossing as of yesterday. A new one might have appeared, but that whole area was a complex maze, both above and below ground. We might be able to escape.
ここ通ろう。
Let's go this way. Okay, so this is where he's planning on going. Between the gap. Kazuki looked at the route I showed her and quickly nodded. So they have to like run like 10 blocks out of their way. That's rough. The sky was a cheerful blue. Beneath it, the buildings were quiet as the dead. Okay, so they're gonna be late or on time instead of early like they wanted to be, right? As we ran through the streets, we could hear the distant howls of monsters. I felt like I'd become a character in a video game. We were going through a tiny, tiny safe area, dodging between various danger spots. And that safe area was just something I'd come up with quickly. I hadn't had a long time to think about. There was no guarantee at all it was actually safe. The stress of knowing that a monster might leap down on us at any minute started to wear me down. But still what? We broke open the shutter at Seibo department store and ran through the building. Across the abandoned Scramble Crossing and under the bridge. And somehow managed to reach the Hikariwo. Alright. The door was wide open and I could see many homeless people inside. I hadn't seen this many people together for days. There were hundreds of them. Some sleeping on beds made of cardboard, others enjoying a lunchtime banquet of drinks and snacks. All the voices overlapped into a chaotic spiral of noise. I felt strangely at home. Kazuki and I looked at each other.
これだけの数の人がいれば十分だろ
More than
う。
enough people.
準備はいい。
Ready?
うん。
We had less than 15 minutes until
Yeah.
noon. Do it. Kazuki took a deep breath.
超強い力
Super strong sumo sticker? That's not gonna work, right? And screamed at Hikari well.
超強い力士シール
That's not gonna work, is it? Again, super strong sumo
強
sticker?
い力士シール
Super strong sumo sticker. And again.
超強い力士シール
Super strong sumo sticker. All the people gathered at the Hikari will were staring in shock at this teenage girl who'd shown up out of nowhere and started shouting nonsense at them. All the noise in the entrance hall faded to a dead silence.
超強い力士シール
This is what they came up with at TL. They want one that's super strong, not just a sumo sticker. Why not start with sumo sticker, please? Please. Kazuki's voice was the only thing she could hear. Or you
超
could
強
hear.
い力士シール
Super strong sumo sticker. Why is this what you're starting with? It sounded like some kind of gag. She only screamed it the one phrase. Her goal was to imprint it as deeply as she could into the minds of the people here. That was the best plan we came up with in the short amount of time we had. There might have been a better way, but exhausted and stressed out as we were, it didn't seem like we'd be able to come up with it. Of course, I didn't expect this plan to work. It was barely a plan at all. Even so, since Katsuki's power couldn't be controlled, there was no telling what exactly it could do. The possibilities were infinite. The same way it created the portal devices all around Shibuya and the monsters that came with them. Maybe it would do something we didn't expect. My hope was it would create a sumo sticker stronger than all the ones in Shibuya combined. But we know that it's just the 11th Rorschach. That doesn't make sense. It's like, images that include the 11th Rorschach cause queasiness. You can't really make a super strong one. At this point, it's all luck. I had no idea what would happen. Maybe nothing would. There wasn't much left time at all until noon. The last 10 minutes were all we had left. All we could hope for was something would appear that would help us fight Wakui. There was barely anything I could do, except maybe stay here with Katsuki.
超強い力士シール
Super strong sumo sticker. Cough medicine. Say cough medicine. Katsuki must have heard her throat from screaming so much. She suddenly started to cough and heave, but she kept yelling.
超強い力士シール
So, their first thought, I'm really confused at this plan. This is a terrible plan. Their first thought is not to try and fabricate something, but to create something that doesn't exist? Not even in a video game. Just like create a completely new idea. I don't understand why you would ever try to do this. If your ability was to like randomly create things that people could correctly visualize, why would you try something that nobody's ever seen before or imagined before, or even knows what is? What is a super strong sumo sticker in the first place? I don't understand.
超強い力士シール
Super strong sumo sticker.
超強い力士シール
Like, there's so many better ways to use this power. This is so unbelievably stupid. Like, here's the easiest way. Oh shit, oh shit, an awesome sumo sticker. And you point, like, do one of those, oh shit, is that a UFO behind you? Or like, you know, like one of those ones where you get like someone to look because you're like, oh shit, I see something. And like, if there's nothing there, right, you're just like distracting them. Do one of those with a sumo sticker and see if it works. Right, they assume they're gonna see a sumo sticker and they see the sumo sticker, right? Like, that would work, but this is like literally the worst way to do it. You walk into a room and start screaming things and it's like, the only thing I see, like the only thing I personally see is a fucking idiot screaming random words here. Alright, super strong sumo sticker again.
時間だ
It's time. Katsuki gasped and fell silent.
もういいんだ
It's enough. But, yeah, your plan sucked. I don't feel bad for you. Nothing had happened yet. Nothing happened. That was the reality. There just wasn't enough time for Katsuki's power to create something.
和樹はよくやったよ
Katsuki, you did great. 10 minutes of screaming. We lost our chance to fight back. And at this rate, we wouldn't be able to save Karus either. The regret threatened to overwhelm me. But I couldn't run away now. I had to go. I told myself I couldn't stop here.
ごめんな和樹僕を助けたばっかりにこんな
Sorry,
ことになった
sorry, Kazuki. This all happened because we're both dumbasses. Or sorry, because you saved me. That's what the text says. I'll read it.
一緒に
Together. Kazuki whispered and softly took my hand. I gripped her hand back. Her warmth made feel just a little better. Her warmth made me feel just a little bit better. The only good thing about this was that Kazuki said she'd stay with me until the end, otherwise I might have been too scared to go. Now look up, go to Wakui. This is your last chance to save Karus. The homeless men were still looking at us in shock. We ignored them and headed for the elevator, still holding each other's hands. Where the hell is Gen? You would have thought Gen would be here in a comment when we started screaming like madmen. The theater cube was on the 11th floor of the Hikariwo, alright? The entrance hall was called the Sky Lobby, and it was an all-glass observation deck. You could look out and see Shibuya from here. Even at this height, I could see how empty the town was. It was like time itself had stopped.
おい、君たち、時間ギリギリだよ。
Hey, you almost didn't make it. The entrance was empty except for Wakui. He spoke like he was still our teacher and we were still his students. It pissed me off. He was a bag of shit wearing the skin of a teacher. I hated myself for not seeing it sooner. There was a single chair next to him. Karus was sitting in it.
Karus.
Karus. She didn't respond. She wasn't tied down or restrained in any way. She was sitting up straight with her posture excellent with her hands on her lap. Her expression was lifeless. Her eyes were open, but there was no sparkle in them. He couldn't...
クルスに何をした
What did you do to Karus?
別に大したことはしてないんだけどね。ちょっとばかり過去の傷をえぐってあげたぐらいだよ。
I just brought out a little bit of past trauma.
お前
You.
体を傷つけたりはしていないんだ。ちょっとおとなしくなってもらっただけさ。
I didn't hurt her
非難
physically at
され
all.
ても困
I
る
just
な。
needed her to be quiet for a little bit. I don't think it's fair to criticize me. My vision turned red with rage. I was overtaken with the impulse to punch him in the face. That would have been a good plan if you'd done that like 20 minutes, like the last time you encountered him. Why are you feeling the impulse now, but not when you were almost killed? Kazuki gripped my hand tighter. Oh, but we're not going to attack him. Our eyes met. She said nothing. But she sadly shook her head. I thought I could tell what she was trying to say. Don't resist. We'd come here to be killed. We could turn ourselves over to Wakui in exchange for Karus. We'd run out of ideas. Kazuki's words hadn't worked. Our last hope was to do whatever Wakui wanted. I gripped my fists tightly and swallowed my anger.
クルスを解放してください
Please release Karus.
僕
We're
ら
not gonna fight you.
抵抗する気はありません
あ、そうなの？
Oh, really? Kui chuckled and put his hand on Karus's shoulder in a friendly way. It was almost enough to bring the anger back.
その割にはさっき下で何かやってたみたいだけど。
I thought I saw you trying something down there, though. Shit, he found out. Well, obviously you were doing it literally up to the last minute. Kazuki couldn't speak. It's okay. I had to come up with something. Yeah, but it didn't work, because it fucking sucked.
でも結局何も起きなかったんですよ
It ended up not working.
だから全部諦めてここに来たんですあれぐらい見逃してくださいよあなたの方が圧倒的に立場は上じゃないですか
I gave up and came here. It's not that big of a deal to you, right? You're so much more powerful.
殺すなら殺してもいいですからでもせめてクルスだけは助けてほしいんです
You want to hurt us? Go ahead and kill us, but at least don't hurt Karus.
それぐらいのお願いは聞いてくれてもいいでしょ
You can at least do that, right?
宮代くんはそんなに死にたいのかい？
Do you want to die that badly, Miyashiro? I gulped.
昨日みたいなことをされるぐらいなら死んだ方がマシです
I'd rather die than go through what I experienced yesterday. It'd be easier. Man, I feel sorry for all the deaf people who are reading this and are like, are you fucking serious? I know they still hear something, but I mean, they can hear their... But he was still able to hear his own body, too, anyway.
そっか。
I see.
なるほどね。
I spoke honest. Alright, well...
委員会からの指示ではね、君たちを
didn't actually
殺せと
tell
は
me to
言われ
kill
て
you
いないん
two.
だ。あ、いや失礼。言い方が
Sorry,
正し
that's
くな
not
い
quite
な。
right.
和樹くんについては殺すなと言われているんだ。君は貴重なサンプルなんでね。
They told me not to kill Kazuki. You're a valuable sample, you see.
宮代
Congratulations.
くんについては、正直どっちでもよかったりする。
As for Mishiro, well, they honestly don't care that much.
彼女からは殺してもいいという許可はもらったわけだから、 僕の気分次第という感じかな。
She gave me your permission to kill you, so I suppose it's up to me. Enjoy. Who is she? What did he mean it was up to him?
とりあえず宮代くんのことは後で考えるとし
We
て。
can work out what to do with Miyashiro later. He laughed, mockingly. He took out a sword. Damn, this guy's got like a four-bladed sword. Weird way to hold it, but you know what? What does it look like from a profile? Instead of head-on. Its shape was so awful and so terrifying that just seeing it made me want to throw up. Holy shit! I can't even imagine a physical shape that could exist that would look so awful like that. That was like a sword. It felt like it was the physical embodiment of what a piece of shit Wakui was. Alright. A sword that is the physical embodiment of what a trashy person you are. Alright.
まずは和樹くんに
First we'll take Kazuki. You put the blade up to Karusa's neck
絶望してもらおうかな。
and drive her to despair.
待て
Wait, that wasn't the deal. Instantly, Kazuki shook off my hand and made her own D-sword appear. Hey, it's glowing purple instead of blue. Just like to point that out. It was previously glowing blue, now it's glowing purple, or like pink purple. Magenta? Magenta might be better. The blade whipped around like a snake and hardened into a solid straight form. Dude, it is a whipped sword! Oh, it is a whipped sword! She flung it straight at Wakui. It was just a quick snap of the wrist with no wind-up at all, but it flew so fast it created shockwaves as it traveled. Wakui blocked it with his own blade.
抵抗する気満々じゃないか。先生に嘘はいけないな。嘘をついたのはどの口だい？
See, you do want to resist. You shouldn't lie to your teachers, you know. Let's teach that lying mouth of yours a lesson. Suddenly and inexplicably, Kazuki struck out her tongue. Wait, what was she doing? Weird pose, too. She looked up towards the ceiling and stuck it out more. She stood on her tiptoes, legs shaking like a newborn fawn's, and her hands flapping desperately, trying to keep balance. It was like she was being pulled upwards by an invisible fishing hook that had pierced right through her tongue.
カズキどうした
Takuru's responses are so amazing. He's like, oh, Kazuki. Alright, so Kazuki draws her sword, attacks, and suddenly attacks. He blocks, and suddenly she stands on her tiptoes, sticking her tongue out, staring straight at the ceiling for 2 minutes. And his response isn't like, oh fuck, what's he doing? His response is like, oh, Kazuki, what's up? Is that a new strat for killing this guy? Dude, what are you doing, man? That looks so cool. Maybe I should do that. Should I do that too? I'll just stand on my, like, oh my god, Takuru, you're so dumb. Tears formed in the corner of her eyes. Her expression contorted in pain. She's fine, guys. She's absolutely fine. This is just like some weird quirk she has that we haven't noticed before, okay? Takuru is clearly a sane person and not a complete fucking potato. This is just things normal, quirky Japanese people do. Her eyes look to me for
子
help.
供の頃、親に言われたことはないかい？
Did your parents ever tell you when you were little?
嘘つきは閻魔様に舌を引っこ抜かれるぞってさ。
If you lie, the Lord of Hell will rip out your tongue. I don't think so. I think the Lord of Hell wants you to lie because that brings you further away from God. So, wouldn't he encourage you to lie all the time? Anyway, it's okay. I felt something cold run down my back. He's gonna use telekinesis to rip out her tongue, and Takuru's just gonna be like, "Wow, that's cool." He's not like, "Oh man, someone's gonna." He's so freaking passive. He's so passive. I can't make Takuru do anything. This guy is so passive. He's so freaking passive. He's like, I don't want to call someone a cuck, but this is the kind of guy who, if he saw someone fucking his girlfriend, he'd kind of just sit there and watch. He'd be like, oh, that's weird, she's doing that. Oh. And then he wouldn't form an opinion on it or even respond. Like, literally, the cuckold in cuckoldry is Takuru. It's so weird. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Alright. Like, how much you gotta have happen before you react to something? The crew is just gonna sit there and watch. Alright, I had a very bad feeling. Stop! Oh, he responded by saying stop. I feel like that's not gonna work. It's like, oh no, someone took someone hostage, is ripping out their tongue, and your response is, stop it. You think he's going to react to that? There was no time for me to even reach out my hand. Before Kazuki bit off her own tongue. Blood splurted everywhere. Oh yeah. Splurted, I guess. Her frail body lost its balance and collapsed.
Kazuki!
Ah, Kazuki. I ran over and held her in my arms. And his reaction isn't, oh my god, this guy used telekinesis to rip out someone, force someone to cut off their own tongue, and you're like, and your response is like, well, I guess I'll just see if she's okay. This guy can do whatever he wants to me. It's fine. It's fine. God, it's Takuru. He's a miserable piece of shit. Her eyes had rolled back into her head, and bubbles were pouring out of her mouth as her body spasmed in pain. Alright. There was no blood around her mouth. So what had I just seen? I used my fingers to open her mouth. Her tongue was still there. It hadn't been severed. I looked around and couldn't see any pieces of it lying on the floor. Okui was grinning.
自分が舌を噛み切るリアルな幻覚を見せられたら、さすがにショックでかいよね。
I'm sure a realistic dream of biting off your own tongue is quite the traumatic experience.
でもこんなのまだまだ序の口だよ。
We're only just getting started.
和樹くんには徹底的に壊れてもらわな
I
い
need
と。
Kazuki to be thoroughly broken. Ah, so he can also cause people to experience dreams. That's what he's going to use. He's going to implant ideas in people's minds. Similar to the villain in the first one who had mind control. He's just going to do that. Give you visions and visions and visions. Alright.
サンプルっていうのはそういうものだ
That's
から
what we
ね。
do with samples. Alright. Enjoy. I didn't even feel any rage. There was only powerlessness and despair. There was no point even trying to fight him. I couldn't save anyone. Not Karus, not Kazuki, not even myself. Everything was up to Wakui now. All I could do was wait until the moment of my death like cattle. Alright. I hadn't even planned on fighting back when I came here anyway. I knew I wouldn't be able to save Karus. That's right, none of this was unexpected. I'd be killed and I wouldn't be able to do anything about it. There was nothing more to it than that. No matter how much I had to watch Kazuki and Karus suffer, they were all going to die anyway. It shouldn't matter. Once you died, the pain went away. I was tired. I just wanted this over with. Maybe I should bite off my own tongue. Alright, well, I guess we're biting off our own tongue. Seems like a good plan. Takuru, go for it.
なんだ宮代くんも壊れ気味なのかいこらえしょうがないな。
You're gonna break too, Miyashiro? You're about to break already, Miyashiro? What a wimp you are.
だったらさっきの続きを見せてあげるよ。
I guess I'll show you what happens after we left off then. Wakui put the blade back to Karus's neck.
目をそらしてはいけない。
Don't look away. Watch carefully.
ほら
Look. The sharp blade sliced open the white flesh of her neck. Good news, we can't tell if this is real or fake. There was a white flash though, so it's possible he didn't actually kill her, and this is an illusion. I think this is an illusion. Blood spurted out like a fountain. I watched it as if in a trance. And of course, our character is like perfectly okay with watching their adopted sister be murdered. I mean, we're kind of... You know what? We've actually already seen that in the first route, didn't we? We saw that in the first route. Our character was perfectly okay with that. Damn, alright. Well, moving on. I'm not even going to complain. It's consistent writing. Karus's head had slumped forward, so Akui grabbed it and lifted it up so I could see her face. Her expression was blank. There was no sign of pain, no sign of resistance. It made me feel just a little better. At least she didn't suffer. Akui's blade was extremely sharp and it cut through Karus's neck like a knife through butter. It didn't seem real at all. It was like watching the death of one of the characters in the game I'd played with Kazuki. Akui lifted up Karus's head and tossed it away. Oh, nice, nice. It landed on the ground in front of me as I lay there, her long hair wrapping around it as it rolled. Nice. I hadn't realized her head was so small. As I stared at it, someone walked over to me. I looked up. Karus's headless body was standing in front of me. See? I knew it! I knew it! It's an illusion. The body slowly picked up the head, then went back to the chair. Unlikely he's using telekinesis. He's more likely using illusion here. Then it put its head back on, the same way a person might put on a helmet. A low moan came from its mouth. This is very creative. Carice blinked several times and looked at me. What's going on? What kind of nightmare was this? Her head was connected to its body once more. Carice saw me and started to cry. Save me, Tucker. Save me. Ah. What was happening? Why? Why?
2度目は思考を変えてみよ
Let's change things up a little for the second time. Huh? The second time? What did he mean? The second time? Wakui stuck the blade up against her neck again. Ah. Carice's features contorted with terror. Wakui, save me, please. Save me, please. No, let's keep watching. Let's keep watching.
やめろ。
Stop. Oh, yeah, that's gonna work. She just died. You just chopped off her head, man. Why was she asking me for help? Oh, I don't want to die. You already did. Don't look at me that way.
う。さようなら。
Goodbye. Why doesn't she summon her own D-sword and, like, right in his chest? She screamed and shook as her neck was sliced open. Oh, this is so fun to watch. Her screams quickly stopped and were replaced by a sound like air from a leaky pipe. Her head rolled down and landed on the floor with a thud. Oh, please. This is fun. This is fun. What's going on here? It's an illusion, man. Why did Carice have to get her head cut off twice? Carice had nothing to do with this. She hadn't caused any problems for Wakui or the committee. This is an illusion. I'm glad you realized it after 2 times. This is an illusion. It's right, an illusion. But we're not going to do anything to try and break it. It's just a delusion of what Wakui's forcing me to experience. Carice wasn't killed twice. She was killed once, and the second was an illusion.
拾いなさい。
Pick it up. It's like that scene in Half-Life 2 where the guard's like, pick up that can. Pick it up. Wakui said something strange. Carice's body stood up in answer to her words and picked up her head again. Oh, no, Carice is picking it up. Never mind. Bloop. Head back on. Then she put it back on her body. Was she supposed to be that hero whose head was stuffed with red bean paste? I mean, every time I look at this scene, there's no actual blood on the floor. This wasn't funny. It wasn't funny at all. Maybe laughing would have made it easier. My vision blurred. I realized I was crying. I started to hear Carice's sobs. Hey, Takuru. Why am I alive? You just cut off my head. Why? Nono is suffering so much for Takuru. I only feel moderately sorry for Nono because she's the control freak, but she probably doesn't deserve to be repeatedly decapitated if that's the case, and she's experiencing that too. So, yeah, she probably doesn't deserve that. So I feel sorry for Nono, mostly suffering because of Takuru's incompetency. It's alright. Fine, he likes watching this stuff. No, don't worry about it. Tell me, Tucker. Again, this might be an illusionary no-no, so let's not worry about that too much. Why is Mr. Wakui killing? I felt like I was going to go crazy. I didn't want to see anymore. I wanted everything to go totally black. This was all a delusion. That's what I wanted to believe. When would it end? How many times would Carice have to have her head cut off before he finally let her die? How many times would I have to see her head cut off before he finally let me die? I couldn't take it anymore. I was sick of this. If I could just destroy my own mind, I wouldn't be able to feel anything. I could be at peace until I died. That'd be great, wouldn't it? It'd be okay, wouldn't it? And suddenly, It was a noise like a trumpet that filled the whole Shibuya sky.
この音は
This sound, it can't be. For the first time, Bakui's expression changed to one of shock, and he looked directly at the still unconscious Kazuki. That's right, this sound was one I'd heard already once before.
まさか
Can't be. Kazuki's power. Kazuki's words, her delusions. Had one become real? The super strong sumo sticker? But if it had, what form was it going to take? If nothing else, I couldn't see anything happening near where we were. Both Wakui and I listened carefully. I tried to listen and see if there was anything to be heard but Karisa's sobs. I looked around desperately trying to find the sumo sticker. What was it? What had changed? I heard a faint noise, like a rumble in the distance. It was far smaller than the sound of the trumpet I'd first heard, but the floor began to shake in answer to the sound. It wasn't an earthquake. The tremors were spaced too closely. It was outside. Something was happening outside. Ignoring Kazuki, Karius, and Wakui, I staggered over to the glass window. Again, this guy, like, I want to see right now. He literally just, like, walked right by the hostage and the guy toward, like, he clearly can move and do whatever the fuck he wants when he wants to. And he still doesn't do anything. Oh, I want to see for itself? Alright, what form had Kazuki's last uncontrollable wish taken? In some tiny corner of my crippled heart, I thought to myself, maybe it'd be nice if whatever it was destroyed this whole insane world. I realized I was on the verge of going mad, but even so, I looked outside with a burning hope in my heart. I looked down at the city of Shibuya below. Please summon the real Godzilla and just have him, like, nuke the city or something. I want to see something really crazy spawn. Like, I don't care if she summons fucking Martians in, like, I don't care if she summons a Martian battlecruiser over the fucking city, and they're like, oh shit, aliens are real, and there's a giant flying spaceship. Like, I just want to see something crazy. Come on. And there, I saw it. I suddenly realized something was wrong. I didn't want to admit that it could be real. I thought it might be another illusion of Okui's, but...
なんだ
What the hell is that thing?
ありゃ
Wakui had forgotten about toying with me and was instead gazing in awe at the unbelievable sight before him. From the look of things, it wasn't something he had created. It was real. This is what Kazuki had created. When I realized this, I was awestruck. It meant the scale was all wrong. It was holding the cylinder tower of the 107 building like you or I would hold a body pillow. What a weird and oddly specific choice of saying. Alright, I asked for something weird. This covers it. It's not the most world-ending crazy ship you've ever seen, but it is a, like, 20-story tall giant. Alright. It looks like it's a sumo, so it looks like it's wearing the sumo suit. The sumo thingies. Whatever they're called. The sumo underwear they wear. Let's see, it's like an extra thick G-string, whatever you want to call that. Alright. So, it was shaped like a human. It was pretty pudgy. No, it was obese. The surface of its body was slick and shiny. Whether it was sweating or that's just what its skin was like, I couldn't tell. It was mostly naked except for a loincloth around its waist. Its black hair was oily and clung tightly to its head, but there was no top knot. Its hair was parted perfectly in the center. Strangely enough, its face had 2 mouths, 2 noses, and 3 eyes. It was not the face of a human. We're in fact changing genres entirely. We're moving into Shingeki no Kyojin. We're playing Attack on Titan now. It's an obese giant. Likes eating people. It looks too human though. It was not the face of a human. It has 2 of them. A sumo sticker. Its face was a sumo sticker. The center eye was closed, but the other 2 were flung wide open. And even at this distance, I could see that giant eyeballs were constantly moving around. Nice. Its mouth was continuously opening and closing. It didn't seem to be eating anything. Whether it was sleepy or thirsty or maybe even trying to speak, I couldn't tell. Its movements were sluggish and lumbering. It was like a giant monster from a kaiju movie. Yeah, a giant monster. That's the perfect word for it. It was as tall as the 107 building, after all. Giant sumo sticker man, at least this was interesting. I had been very interested in his feet since the moment I'd first seen him. So he's like, okay, he's maybe like 10, 15 stories tall. That's not that big. I mean, if I remembered right, there was a portal device over there and the place was crawling with monsters. Giant sumo sticker man lifted up one of his feet off the ground and flicked it a little. It was covered with monsters clinging to it. From this distance, they looked like tiny pieces of garbage, but I could still see them. Giant sumo sticker man kept shaking his left leg, but the monsters didn't let go. And then the two mouths howled in unison, and it slammed its left leg onto the ground. The monsters were knocked off. In fact, he crushed the portal device itself. The pyrokinetic had been annihilated when she touched the device. But evidently it wasn't capable of handling something the size of the giant sumo sticker man. The horrible portal device that caused so much pain was crushed beneath the feet of the giant sumo sticker man. I started to laugh. This time, it wasn't out of resignation. I hadn't gone crazy. Faced with the overwhelming size and scale of giant sumo sticker man, after all the time I spent running and being afraid of the past week, it seemed kind of stupid.
Oi, oi. Oi, oi, oi.
Wait.
What
The hell is this? It's impossible. It's insane. I love it. Thanks, Makui. I can understand why Makui was panicking. In the face of something like that, your only options were laugh, scream, or pretend it didn't exist. Who the hell dreamed that thing up? Apparently 2 people did. Multiple people had to share the same precise image, down to the smallest detail for Kazuki's words to become real. Was that what they took from Super Strong Sumo Sticker? It was a miracle created by astronomical odds. The human imagination could be a scary, scary thing. Takuru-senpai. Kazuki had woken up and staggered over to me. I quickly grabbed her body to steady her. Her mouth fell open too when she saw the giant sumo sticker man. Is that... did I... She spoke. Yeah, I'm sure of it. We got it! The giant sumo sticker man! Mission accomplished! That... Kazuki closed her eyes tight. Can you beat up Mr. Makui for me? As if in answer to her words. Giant sumo sticker man howled once more. And waved a giant arm, knocking down the 107 building tower. Oh no! The guard. There's no one in the city, but they're like, he's like, oh fuck. None of the buildings were damaged. Now there's a building down, the 107 of all things. As the rubble and dust flew into the air, Sumo Sticker Man looked at us. Did he recognize us, or maybe Kazuki? Giant Sumo Sticker Man's central eye opened. It was a black pupil with a crimson iris, and the third eye was looking right at us. When it saw us, a sense of indescribable terror and exhaustion raced through my body. My knees started to shake. I couldn't even stand. My vision was blurred, my eyes started to ring, and I felt like I was going to throw up. I imagined every drop of blood in my body freezing. My whole body started to shudder from the cold. It was 1,000,000 times worse than the sumo stickers I'd seen around the city. What happened to Makui? I forced myself to look through my blurred vision. Yes. Alright, our savior. A giant sumo with 2 heads and no teeth. He was kneeling on the floor and vomiting. It was working! Giant sumo sticker man was nullifying his power. Now you just have to beat him to death. Come on. Kazuki. Kazuki had gone pale and was clinging to me tightly. I shook her by the shoulders. Give him an order. You might listen to what you tell him. Katsuki nodded through the pain. He looked back at the giant sumo sticker man. Come here, come here! To me, my sumo sticker man! Her voice was a hoarse whisper. But he heard it, he even said coming! In English, weirdly enough. Giant sumo sticker man unleashed a mighty roar from both his two mouths and took a slow, ponderous step forward. His blubber shook as he walked. He traveled the distance between the 107 building and Scramble Crossing in only a few steps. Maybe he could sense Kazuki's thoughts. I had no idea how it worked, and I didn't care. At this point, there was no point even asking questions. I couldn't get distracted. Come here. What in the name of God did you people make? A giant sumo sticker man. He even heard them yelling. How does he not know what it is? What is this ridiculous thing? Don't you know what the world's gonna do? What that thing's gonna do to the whole world? Yep. It's gonna be cool as fuck, man. We have like a 15-story giant person. That's awesome. How cool is that, Wakui? I mean, you asked for this, right? You asked people to panic. You should have just killed them, honestly. Wakui stood up and slowly moved toward us, shaking and wobbling as he moved. I slid between him and Kazuki and pushed him away. You were able to just physically push him backwards. Like, imagine a dude with a sword, a giant ass, like, 4-pronged sword, who can't just, that cuts through matter like it's fucking butter, and he can't even just swing in your general direction before you reach him. He couldn't regain his balance and fell flat on his behind. I have no strength. This is the power of the sumo sticker. His sword disappeared. I see, so that's it. That's why you made that thing. So, it's an anti-gigalomaniac giant? That's insane! Don't think you've won. Alright, Nono was willing to draw her sword. Hopefully she can snap out of things, because this guy's having a bad time. Nono might be able to recover. At almost the exact same moment that Wakui readied his D-sword once more, there was a roar from below that shook the whole building. I looked down to see what happened. The giant sumo was lying on top of an elevated section of the Yamanote railway line. He must have tripped on it. He grabbed the side of the station building and used it to help himself up, crushing the tracks in the process. And then he moved forward and slammed himself into the side of the Hikariwo. The Hikariwo was struck with the force of hundreds, no, thousands of Yokozunas. The body slams continued again and again. The building itself began to buckle, and the shockwave sent us to the floor. The glass broke and poured down on us. I felt a cold wind on my skin. Did we look up and see his face? Did we just look up and see his face like 5 feet away from us? When the shaking finally stopped, I looked up to see what happened to Kazuki and Karus. I was relieved to see they hadn't fallen out the window. No. But Wakui was still alive. He'd stood up before we had and was cursing us in rage. There was another huge shock. Wakui and the rest of us were knocked away. I was worried the Hikariwo might break. I had to ask guys, but can you do something about that? No. Never mind. Nah, never mind. I'll just kill you first. Alright. Wakui didn't even have the energy left to keep up his good teacher act. He raided his D-sword, face flushed with anger. He attacked us in desperation. Even though it was obvious he could barely stand. He was obsessed, but he's not using his powers, he's using the sword. I wasn't ready to give up yet either. You know, as dumb as Takuru's been, I think this is a hilarious change. This is like the best outcome. Like, the plan is so unbelievably stupid, and the results are like equally silly. And then somehow we get this, and it's like Takuru's being useless, but it's still hilarious. Thank you, Kazuki, for being so amazing. We finally had our own trump card, the giant sumo sticker man. And I was every bit as obsessed with killing Wakui, because Kazuki ordered you to? You. I grabbed Kazuki's body in my arms and leapt outside through the broken window. Tucker. The ground got closer and closer. I was scared. If I hit the ground at this speed, my bones would shatter, my body would be crushed, and I'd die in a spray of blood and organs. There's nothing to support me, nothing to grab onto. I couldn't keep my balance in midair. I clung tightly to Kazuki. Kazuki, make it catch us. Wait, you're already falling. You've reached terminal velocity by the time that sentence rate leaves your mouth. Kazuki quickly understood and looked around for it. There was no need to look. Giant sumo sticker man was right under us, clinging to the Hikaru building. Oh, he's not that tall, I see. He twisted his neck to look at us. A huge flabby hand extended beneath us. And caught us. It was soft, like a cushion. We were going pretty fast, though, so the impact was intense. But at least we were alive. It's like a cushion. We looked up. I could see his arm, his shoulder, and his giant sumo sticker face. Seen from up close, it made me feel even sicker. A part of me wanted to jump off and die rather than stay here. I closed my eyes, gritted my teeth, and did my best to fight the impulse.
Yashiro! Kazuki!
Sure, Kazuki! Hey, listen, she just has a fraction of your power, so you should be able to spawn your own Titan and go to town on him. Oh, sorry. Wrong series? Wrong series? I could hear Raku's voice from above. I looked up and saw that he had jumped out of the building, too. A huge bird, like something out of an encyclopedia of dinosaurs, had flown from nowhere and Wakui grabbed onto its leg. Ah, it's one of the monsters. Alright. This looks sweet. Alright. Damn, that's the first profile shot we've seen of his sword. You know, I'm gonna be honest, that actually looks like a fucking badass sword. That's clearly a giant two-handed sword. It's a little bit wide. Like, its hand is between those... Like, it's twice as wide as it looks. It's a little bit wide. But it looks cool. I dig the hollow design. So is this how teachers normally come to school in like 2021? Or is this like Japanese teachers are weird, I guess. I didn't know teachers could arrive via magical pterodactyl, but here we are. Alright, Wakui grabbed its leg. It slid through the air towards us. Yeah, I know it's a bird from ESO 2. That's fine, I don't care. It's called a Quetzalcoatlus. Yeah, okay. It was pink and almost completely featherless. I could tell by comparing its size to Wakui's, its wingspan was over 5 meters long. There's no such bird as that, and even if there were, it wouldn't live in the middle of Tokyo, and even if it did, it wouldn't be taking orders from Wakui. Wakui's delusions had created it. Oh, you think it's Wakui now? Wakui flew past giant sumo sticker man, slicing into its shoulder with his D sword. The two mouths moaned in pain. Instead of blood, the sumo stickers spurted out. White sumo stickers spurt out of the wound, the wind carrying them across Shibuya's sky. Wakui spun around in midair for another attack. Come on, Hana, you can do it. Order the sumo to punch him. Or use use magic to crush him. Come on. Creativity. Kazuki. Then I realized. Kazuki was holding onto the side of her temples in pain. Her body was so hot in my arms I thought I might get burned. She was feeling weak. I wasn't sure if it was because of Wakui's attack or the fact that she'd used her power. Maybe it was because she was giving orders to giant sumo sticker man. Don't push yourself so hard. Nah, if you don't push yourself, you're gonna die. I screamed, unable to stand seeing her in that state. But she immediately shook her head. I like how we're just helping her out while she does this whole battle. She looked at me in desperation. She spoke the words clearly. Let's defeat him. This is our only chance. We have our weapon. The sticker man. Use it. Could I do it? Kazuki grabbed me by the necktie as if to urge me on. She gritted her teeth and whispered in my ear through the pain. No, I liked Hana being the useful wizard while we're useless. Takuru, you give it the orders. Then we fight. I could do it. I could fight. In fact, I had a monster at my disposal that was capable of ripping Wakui in two, which meant I'd use that power to survive.
分かった。
Got it. Kazuki nodded, and the giant sumo sticker man's fingers closed around us. He brought his hand up and sat us on his shoulder. It was a little more unstable than his palm, but at least here I wouldn't have to look at his face. Just as I thought, moving here made me feel a lot better. I like this picture, actually. I like this picture. It's like so unreal. It's great. Like, she's sitting there with her like whip sword at its shoulder being like, I need this for stability. And like, I don't know what Takura is doing, but he looks ridiculous in this pose. That's amazing. Alright. I had Kazuki summon her D-sword and plunge it into the sumo sticker's neck, giving us the support so we wouldn't fall off. Yashiro! Wakui was getting closer. He wasn't our club advisor or anything else. The committee of 300 could go to hell. Hit him! Giant sumo sticker man's arm flew forward. He smashed Wakui with an open palm the same way you'd swat a fly. Wakui landed hard near Memorial Park. The impact could have easily killed him, but he wasn't normal, so I wasn't going to show any mercy. Crush him. In a single bound, Sumo Sticker Man covered the distance between here and Memorial Park. He could jump an amazing distance for a fat man. Kazuki and I clung tightly as we could to the D-sword to avoid falling off. He landed hard, crushing the area where Wakui had fallen. The impact kicked up rubble and dust around his feet. Did we win? I looked down into the dust. Wakui's D-sword flew straight up through the cloud. It was so fast, there was no time to dodge. The sharp blade stabbed into my shoulder. Damn, that's... It tore through flesh and bone. The pain was incredible. I felt like I was gonna pass out. Kazuki held me up. She grabbed my hand and placed it on the D-sword. It was just barely enough to keep me from falling. I bit my lip to get through the pain and looked in the direction the sword came from. Wakui was down there covered in blood and looking at us in fury. Just a little from the spot from where the giant sumo sticker man had landed. Can you even hear him right now? I don't know how tall this thing is, though. Kick him away! Giant sumo sticker man flicked Wakui away with his foot. Wakui's body flew like a ping pong ball. At that point, the fight was over. But I wasn't done yet. Grab the weapon. By weapon, I meant the Shibuya Earthquake Memorial, which should survive the impact of the jump when it was sticking out of the ground near giant sumo sticker man's feet. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this looks fun. Where are the helicopters? I swear, the media should have helicopters. There is literally a giant sumo wrestler fighting. There's a giant sumo wrestler fighting a pterodactyl in the middle of Tokyo, and nobody's got a camera for this? Alright. He's got a weapon now. He reached down and yanked it out of the earth. We got ourselves a club. His eyes locked on Wakui as he flew through the air. This is it. We're gonna impale him? No way! I was thinking you'd use like a bat and just hit him into the ground. We're gonna run him through? Giant sumo sticker man flung back the arm holding the memorial. Kazuki's will and mind dwelt in the giant sumo wrestler's body. His arm snapped forwards. The memorial was flung like a spear. The spear instantly crossed the speed of sound. Well, there goes. With a sonic boom, it smashed straight into Wakui and obliterated his body. Okay. That was the end. The D-sword in my shoulder disappeared in a halo of light. Wakui was dead. He never had a chance. It was a one-sided slaughter. The giant sumo wrestler howled into the open air. He was a destructive monster. He was a brutal giant. We had created something that threatened to destroy the balance of the entire world. I looked up at the Hikaruo and saw Karus waving at us from the shattered sky lobby window. He survived, huh? For better or worse, both Kazuki and I had survived. What awaited us now was a hell worse than anything we'd gone through so far. We had brought this terror not only to ourselves, but to the entire world. Nothing about the world would ever be the same, and we'd be left to make our way in it like lost and frightened children. Even without the Committee of 300's decision, Kazuki and I were enemies of the world for creating such a place. Maybe it would have been better if Fukui had killed us. There was that, and then there was the fact I had no idea what we were going to do next. And the fact my shoulder was still bleeding and it hurt like hell, but Kazuki was in my arms looking relieved and at peace. At least for this one moment, I could be grateful for the warmth I felt. That's what I thought. If it ends there, that'd be good. Hey, there we go. Good ending. Good ending. Sometimes it drags. That was good. That was good. Talking.
楽しかった？
Did you have fun? Hell yeah, I did. Thanks, Sarika. Alright, so probably the best route so far. The Deep Sky ending. That was really good. I'm looking for... I don't know what can top this, but I'm looking forward to finding out.